welcome to Empowered by AI. I'm Michelle Nutsi Silva. This podcast is for women building what's next and using AI with intention. In Season 6, you'll hear from founders, educators, creatives, and builders who are actually using AI to think better, work smarter, and move with intention. We're learning from conversations about readiness, literacy, and taking action, because every episode gives you ideas you can use immediately. Let's get into it. Olivia is in the house. We have a nationally recognized educator in our midst, an author, a speaker. I cannot wait to hear about your latest and greatest. So, Olivia, can you take a minute and just introduce yourself to everyone?
Great. Thank you so much, Michelle, for having me today and to share my enthusiasm and my passion for building with AI. I had an educational consulting business that focused on curiosity-based teaching strategies, but I decided that the future is changing rapidly, and the model of consulting needs to also change. So I have made a shift as of November, December, and started focusing on building tools that could equip educators to implement curiosity-based things in the classroom, but also to help leaders build in curiosity. And there's a lot of other things that happen along the way, but at the end of the day, I've been on this journey of trying to figure things out and trying to figure out how can we make learning exciting? How can we make learning feel like that feeling we get when we listen to that music that just inspires us, that every day we want to show up. So that's my mission. I'm really dedicated to sparking curiosity and getting people on fire for learning, because it's been too boring for too long, and it has to change.
There is so much of a call to shift right now in education. It's everywhere, because really what AI has done is it's thrown into a spotlight, much like the internet did initially when it first came out. The idea of education being an output-based institution. And I think what you're trying to do is kind of flip that on its head and do something a little bit differently.
Totally, because the learning that we're actually still experiencing in the classroom was built on the 1900 century model. And the model was to produce average people so that they could work for industry. They didn't want people above average. They wanted to make everybody average so that they could repeat the same thing over and over. But that's not the way people are now. People are very, very different. We need a new model. And even the roles, like the separation, all of this was a training to get the mind focused on just doing a job and staying average. But hey, it's a new group of women coming up. There's a new group of generation X, Y, Z. And they're like, no, I don't think we like that model anymore.
Yeah. And you really talk about how there's a curiosity crisis. And so I'm wondering what it is that you do with organizations, with individuals to help them break through that stuck in a rut kind of reality.
And anytime you want to change something, you have to focus on something micro. And you got to get people to build confidence in something simple. So I started out just with something called micro inquiry tasks. And it was designed to have kids work together because they need affection in learning. A lot of our learning, there's no collaboration. It's just isolation, and we're social beings. So that was the first mindset. How can I get them to collaborate? And then the other challenge was thinking about, how can I get teachers who don't want to try something new to try something new?
Exactly. How do we get you to turn left when you want to turn right?
So then I was like, I got to make it micro inquiry, simple task, 8 minutes, focused on a concept, no vocabulary, no teaching, where students get to think, be in a little disequilibrium before we start talking about the content. And it could be used in any subject. That's why it works from kindergarten to 12. It could even be used in college, but I've been focusing on K through 12. So say, for example, I'm about to study the heart. I'm about to have my students learn about all the different parts of a heart. Now, most people how do you think they traditionally would open up a unit about the heart? What do you think?
They might start with a little bit of vocabulary. What do you know already? And then connect it to the vocabulary that's in the unit that they have to cover for the test that's at the end.
Yep. Or they might even just start out, here's a picture of a heart. Here are the different parts of a heart. Now we're going to talk about the parts, right? But what if I started off just with a heart? Draw a picture of a heart. Tell me, what do you think happens in our hearts? Feel your heart. Oh, you feel something pumping. Where do you think the pump is? Like, I'm going to let you like figure out some of this stuff on your own. Okay. And students sometimes already have some background knowledge. They've been watching TV. Maybe their parents are doctors. Maybe they've talked to them about certain things. So you're actually getting a common background knowledge. And then we start putting the pieces together. And actually, the brain works better that way. When it formulates its own little stick people, I like to call them, or little images that it understands, even though it might not be the prettiest, the brain will later say, I don't know enough. Then the curiosity gap happens. And the curiosity gaps, then the intrinsic motivation happens to say, hey, I want to figure this out. I want to learn more.
Mhm.
And so the micro inquiry kind of triggers kids. And what ends up happening though, the teachers who do it, because it's hard. You never facilitated a discussion on a topic where you didn't have to have wrong or right answers. It's multiple entry points. So that's scary already. So the teachers, though, who get over the fear, they do it 2 or 3 times, then they start to say, what else can I try? And then that's when their spark starts. And when you spark something in a teacher, you just set the whole class on fire.
Exactly, exactly. And I know that you are incorporating AI into your work. How do you fit it into this curiosity spark concept?
Okay, great. So I had started, kind of playing with Chat GPT. I started in January of 2024, and I've been swimming in it since then. And at first, I just initially was just using it for emails, marketing ideas. I used it to evaluate some of my trainings, to scaffold, to tell me, hey, when people might be confused. But I'm naturally curious. So I kept asking questions. What else can this do? What else can it help me with? And that curiosity pushed me to keep testing and exploring to the point where I was introduced to a GPT. And I said, GPT, I can create a GPT for my Spark Curiosity task where teachers can put in some background information like the subject, the grade level, and then they can tell me something very detailed about the students. And the students don't have to be all of your students. It could be students in one class. You could create something very specific that connects either to their emotions, to their interests, to their backgrounds, or just to things that are on their mind or trending at the time. So I created my first Spark Curiosity using Chat GPT. And I made my own GPT because if you have the $20 a month account, and I just put my frameworks from my book, and I had already written the book and I already had like 100 examples. So I put those examples and I just said, hey, when a teacher comes, these are the things I want them to be able to put in, prompt them to put in the subject, the grade, and some background. And this is the format. And it was just 3 basic things. Give them the spark, the activity that the kids will work on, give them some guiding questions, and give them a community summary. And people are like, what's community summary? Well, community summary is the community of learners came up with that summary on the concept. So it's not something they're going to find in the curriculum book. It's not something you write on the board and a PowerPoint, because that's the magic of learning is when we figure something out together and when you write it down together. So that kind of is what initially, and then I put in like a fearless educator tip because I said any teacher that comes to this GPT and puts in this information, they got to be fearless. And I want to keep motivating them to say, man, you did this and this is why this matters. So that was my first step. And then I can tell you the next one once I went to the She Leads AI conference where I decided to quantum leap.
Oh my God, I want to hear about that. Where are you been to now? What?
Well, so then when we were at the conference in Salt Lake City, and there was the 2-hour workshop on building an app in Lovable. And I'm like, what's this Lovable about? Vibe coding. Because that's pretty much what I did in GPT. It was vibe coding. It was me talking to the GPT, telling them what I want my outputs to be. Here are my inputs. But being over in Lovable, it looked so pretty. It was more visual. It was more like, oh, this is going to attack someone's senses. And so when I was building something else for my business, I said, I'm going to build a Spark Curiosity Coach on its own platform and I'm going to make it a community. I'm going to make it feel like we're in space, we're wandering. So I end up putting not just the sparks, but now they could keep all the sparks in one place. Because we know when we're in Chat GPT, all our chats get mixed up. And you don't forgot you had some great thoughts a month ago and you don't know where they are now.
So when I walk in a room,
We were walking around, I'm always making like Google Docs, like, let me put this in a Google Doc. Let me label it. Let me put a note in my phone so I know.
swear.
The only thing about these AI tools is being able to organize them, but I know someone's going to come out with an app for that.
No.
So that's initially was my mind. I wanted to create an ecosystem where it felt cool to be. And I want to create my own generative AI. And I realized I needed to get feedback from my Spark. So as soon as someone generates a Spark, at the bottom it says provide 1 minute feedback. Is this something you would use? If are you going to tweak it? What subjects or when are you going to use this in your lesson? So all of that is going to help make these better for future teachers who decide to use them. Then I even added a generator image where the AI would generate an image to go along with the Spark. I'm still tweaking that a little bit, but it's just cool to now have a community. People can sign in with ChatGPT. I didn't know who was accessing my GPT. Now I can at least know who they are and I can build a community. I can possibly ask them to test something else out or what else would you like on this? So I think that's where good products come from. It comes from maybe starting something for free first, testing it out, trying to see what's working, what's not working until you solve a real big problem because you cared about your community. And I really care about educators and I really want them to have sparks. I want them to be excited. I want them to feel like learning is not hard. It can be a very enjoyable task. It's just that we make it hard because we just want to throw information at people, and that's not how the brain works.
I was just talking to someone today where I was asking them, have you played around with AI? Are you into it? And the way that this person's reality was with AI was that they knew that anything they looked at could be false, it could be fake, it could be not real or be full of errors in some way. And so they were coming from a place of overwhelm. Like, I don't know enough yet to know whether what I'm getting is a good quality thing. And so I know there's still some people that are feeling super intimidated or super overwhelmed by it. Do you have some suggestions for someone who's struggling with seeing how AI can be used for your own good and for ownership and for positive things? Do you have some advice to help them get into AI in a more positive way?
Well, it depends. Like, if are you going to use AI just to get information? Because
Mhm,
if you're getting information, it can hallucinate. I've had it give
mhm.
me PhDs. I have had it create case studies for me, and I've said, AI, where did you get this information from? And they say, you're right, I made it up. And so I have to be very specific with my prompts and say, only give actual factual information that can be validated. Do not make up anything, So that's the first part. But the second part, I feel, is the safe zone. The second part is when you build something with AI. See, that one, you're going to build it, you're going to test it, and you're going to see what it gives you. So,
Mhm.
one of my early moments was I wanted to maybe do some more podcasts because I was like, I have a book coming out. I would love to kind of build a podcast finder app for myself that kind of aligns what their episodes are and do they align with my message, right? So I went to ChatGPT and I just typed a prompt. Hey, I would like to build a podcast finder where it could tell me some podcasts I might qualify for, give me some background on that podcast, and then create me a custom email. And I asked them, how can I do that? What's the easiest way for me to do that? And in like 2 days, I created my own personal command center on my computer. And I created it in a command center file where you open CMD. I had never did none of that in my life. And all I did was copy and paste from GPT. Copy and paste. And then I said, GPT, what do I do next? Oh, you need to go to GitHub. You need an API for the podcast. And I was like, what is an API? I have no idea what this stuff. I said, break this down to me like I'm in the fourth grade. So that's when that's when it clicked for me. And yeah, I had one or two little bugs. I could never really get the Airtable to capture everything, but it was producing the emails. But I said to myself, Olivia, look what you just did yourself, just playing around. So my thing is, we're never going to figure out anything. That's what leaders do. Leaders, they don't have all the answers, but they are able to make a decision. So you just have to make a decision. Do you want to just consume information and use it to make access and information better? Or do you want to actually create something that might help you personally and something that could take up way more space in your life?
I love how you shift that from overwhelm and output to ownership and creation. I absolutely love that. And do you mind if we take a look at some of the things you've created?
Oh man,
Share your
hey, why not? We can definitely do that. I created 3 platforms I'm gonna share. And right now, hey, Michelle, it's like I'm on drugs now. Like this is my drug.
There's a
Joint. Why? Because it's like these things used to take so long. I grew up programming websites with HTML in college. And
yeah.
you had to get all that code right. And then later on Wix.com came and you could make your website. And there was a couple of other things. WordPress came, but here when I can just type, I want these colors, I want this menu, I want you to do this. And I can kind of go to I usually use Claude and I use ChatGPT and I kind of go back and forth to make those master prompts. But I really spend a lot of time creating a product development guide first so I can read through it. I don't just go into Lovable and just start typing stuff. I need to see my thoughts. I need to see each of the windows so I can go through it to it. And the only reason I really started playing with it is I was in a crisis. I had this product that I wanted to pilot this month, and I'm going to pilot it at the end of this month. And I have been working on it for 3 months. I had a 60 to 90 page product development guide. I had an AI researcher developer telling me all these high end things and how he was going to put it together. And then all of a sudden, I had given him some money and he was just moving so slow. And I said, I'm not going to be able to meet my deadline. I got emails going out. I'm doing work. I need this product. I need a demo. Otherwise, I just need to give up right now. And I was almost about to cry, Michelle. I was feeling stressed because I'm like, I don't think I can do this. But then I saw a girlfriend who is a project manager and she connected with a grant writer and they created their own platform. And I reached out to her and she tells me, oh, we use Lovable to build that. And we built that in like 7 days. And I said, "What? You did what in 7 days?" I said, and I'm a tech person too. Like I said, that's all I needed to hear. Sometimes all we need to hear is another woman, and it was 2 women, do something and say, "Why can't I do it?" And so I literally sat at my computer for 8 days and I created like a masterpiece and I'm getting a lot of positive feedback on it. So I just wanted to prep it before I share it. So let me share my screen here. This is my pride and joy. This is going to change the way schools develop. This one is called the Lead Spark Team. And this one,
Gorgeous.
Leader Sparking Collaborative Teams. I wanted to make teachers working together to make practices stick. I got a demo here. I was able to put all my research-based practices, what makes this platform so different. And this is kind of like just my page. And go down here to the bottom. There's a free report I have. This is if people wanted to do this manually, they could do it manually. But if they use my program, it's going to simulate so many other things. And then at the bottom, I even got my pricing. I got a quick start guide. I created all of this kind of using some of AI. AI knew my product development guide. And I said, hey, I need a quick start for these principles to make it easy for them to access my app. So all of this, in my mind, I'm constantly scaffolding. I'm real big on scaffolding. So let's just log in. So here I wanted to create like a runway. So you see it's night, the runway to school, like we about to take off. We about to go on a journey. And then I didn't want to be like a regular app and you just jump in it. I want them to be like your leadership journey continues. Like now you in the waiting room, you done made it to the airport, look at the horizon. Beautiful things about to happen for you. So once they get in here, basically they're going to put an instructional challenge. We're going to create a new cycle, and we're not going to go through all of this, but there's 6 components of my cycle, and this is the biggest part. What instructional challenge is your team noticing? And this forces principals and teachers to look at their team. Maybe it's just math teachers, science teachers, algebra teachers, and 2 or 6. And we're really thinking about what are our students struggling in learning? We're not talking about test scores. We're talking about what are they struggling in the class. And then it goes down and asks them, what approaches have you tried? And then the last one is, what is your desired outcome? Because we always complain about what we don't want, but we don't talk about what we want. So when they put these things in here, my system will generate them 3 research-based teaching practices that they can implement over 2 to 6 weeks. And we're going to go to the dashboard. I'm just going to go to the dashboard just to show you all of the cool stuff they're going to get when they generate their plan. And the plan takes about 30 minutes because the hardest part was that first page. They're going to get observations, but these observations here, they have no names on them because I want people to feel safe, to be like, we're looking at team data. We're not looking at individual data. And we didn't come in here to evaluate you. We came in here to see, what are we doing about the learning? What are we doing about the learning? And I think we need to focus our attention on the learning. And then there's even an evidence report. There's going to be like teacher survey data, like how confident are they in doing this practice, the classroom observation data, and teachers' reflections. At the end of the cycle, they'll have like a couple questions of that they would answer. But at the end of the day, I'm like, I did all this. I didn't have a team of engineers. I didn't have a team, but I had a vision. I had a vision.
Exactly. And crazy to me. It's like you went from working with a developer to getting stalled to saying, you know what can I do? So I'm wondering if you can take us through your process from, you said you developed an entire document that helped you
Correct.
talk to learners.
Yes. Correct. So, yeah.
Us through your process so we can understand how you went
Right.
from frustrated consumer to
Yes.
active creator.
Okay, so I had the document, and in the document, like I said, that took me about a month or so to develop because I sat down and I was visualizing in my mind, who do I want to access this? I only want leadership to access this. I don't want teachers to access it because they access too many things. So that's another stress, right? And then the second thing, I'm like, what do I want to give them? I don't want to give them 100 research-based practices. I said, if they're just starting out, I want to curate. So I curated 40 research-based practices. I came up with these documents. I came up with the practices, and then I went to Claude and said, Claude, give me more research. Give me more credibility so that you can see these words and know that if someone puts this in an instructional challenge, we can make a connection. So instead of having my AI just go out here and look on the internet and look everywhere and not trust what it's going to give me, I said, let me curate it. And if people don't realize they can do that, you can have your own body of knowledge so for the women you said earlier who's kind of scared, you can curate your own information and you can just have it manipulated where it can customize something. So if you're a counselor and you already have like your set of questions, instead of you asking those questions, you can have someone answer the questions in AI and then your framework. If this person answers, it's almost like if-then kind of statement. So I have that document. I have each page, basically. When I go to this page, when they enter, I want this information. I want it to do this. So that's basically what was on it. And so I put all my ideas into Claude and said, Claude, step by step, let's build this page by page. And so I said, you are a developer. I'm about to develop this Lead Spark Team platform, and I need you to write it for a developer to be able to write it in their language so they could understand it. So that's kind of where that came from. So I thought I did most of the work, right? That's the bulk of the work. So when he was not able to, come through, God bless him, I just said, okay, all right, I'm stressing. Let me go to my thought leader. Let me go to my artificial intelligence and say, hey, I got this product development guide. I was looking at another tool at the time, but I was debating both of those and seeing which one would be easiest for me to use just to get a prototype. And so ChatGPT said, hey, go with Lovable. These are some of the pros, these are some of the cons. And then I made a decision. And then from there, I uploaded my product development guide and I said, let's break this down into very small prompts so that I can build it piece by piece. And it ended up breaking it down into 25 prompts. And so I would copy the prompt into Lovable. It starts to do its thing. I test it. I check it. I go to the next prompt. But when I make a change, though, if I make a change to something, it's important that you keep everything in one space. So I kept most of all of this, my project in Claude, in projects. So it had my brain, my product development guide as like the brain, but I also wrote a very detailed instructions saying, hey, you are a developer, you're creating prompts that's going to go into Lovable. This is going to be our outcome. So it kind of already, the brain is already thinking. So then when I go to the chat and I start saying, hey, create that first prompt for me, but then I might make a change. And then I say, oh, I just made a change. What other parts of my product will this affect? Write a
Oh,
prompt so that I can go back and change those other parts so everything communicates. And I think some people forget that part because sometimes you change something and you like, oh, you didn't forgot, oh, that was communicating with this and you didn't. So I was constantly doing that because I was like, oh, I just added some more stuff and now
just added 6 more pages.
so my record observations might be off. So I would just ask that clarifying prompt and then it would go in and say, hey, update all of this, go check everything that I put into the system already. So that was saving me a lot of time and energy versus if I was typing it like in the command center, like I did the podcaster app, I probably would still be working on that app.
Yeah, and that's
Because I want to know where my mistake is,
yeah.
or where am I going to go back and fix this? I'm stressing. I'm sweating over here.
Yeah,
So
no, you just nailed, I think, one of my issues that I came across with Lovable, whereas I was just because Lovable is so user-friendly, you feel like you're having a chat with an LLM, right? You feel like you're
yeah,
talking to Claude, you feel like you're
yeah,
talking to ChatGPT. So if I came up with something after I saw it, like I would iterate and I'd see a draft. Oh, wait, I want this. And I would change something, but I changed it right and Lovable. I didn't go back into my original conversation with an LLM to say, what is this impact? That's a good step.
yeah, yeah. You got to have all your notes in one place because Lovable doesn't know. And then plus, if you do it in Lovable, you're gonna pay more in credits because you have to pay by
Yeah.
credit.
Oh,
I
girl, you
only
did. I did.
I realized that, and this when I was using the credits, I was using it for the platform, and I said, you know what, Olivia, try to do as much as you can over here,
Yeah.
so you don't have to do it over here. So that
Yeah.
was like my mindset, but that's where it starts from. It just starts really, Michelle. Really, it's your vision. You can pick up your phone right now, click on Chat GPT, and say, Chat GPT, I would like to build an app using vibe code that does this and that. Upload a logo, because that's what I did. That helped get my colors. I said, you know what? Let me come up with a logo first so I can kind of get the design, because sometimes people can't get the design right and the colors right too. So just having a logo to go with your app that can save you a lot of time because now the AI will say, oh, based on your logo, these are the colors we recommend you use on your app. And bam, that's one less muscle I have to use in my head.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I
Exactly.
love to do that first. And then once we get the coloring right and what the labels are, man, the rest is, and then they had what International Women's Day, right? On March
Yeah.
the 8th, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm already paying for the pro account, but I'm like, well, it's free today, Olivia. You should build something today.
Nice.
I said it's free today. And I'm planning a Spark Curiosity conference in Austin, Texas, July 31st to August the 2nd. But it sparked curiosity. I want to create a different learner experience. So I wanted to create a conference app just for my attendees.
Oh,
And girl, I finished it pretty much that night. I stayed on my computer from like 4 to 12 and I created my own experience. And I can share that one. I just like, Olivia, what else are you gonna make? This little we are, Michelle. Like the mind of like, what else can you make? And the thing is, yes, it may seem easy, but it's not easy because they're your genius ideas. The thing
mm,
about it is these things that I'm putting out, I've been thinking about these things for a long time. I've been problem solving in my head. I've been writing it down. I've been putting it in my books. I've been creating frameworks, but I couldn't bring it to reality. Like to
mm,
actually have somebody interface with it, collect data from it. And I think that's where we are. And I think there's so many women and men also listening to your podcast who have genius ideas, who have already solved big problems already. It's just that now we need to give birth and let's see how this looks in the real world. Let's take that idea. So anybody who said, "Oh, I'm afraid," you got a problem. You already figured out a solution. Now just bring it to life. See how it feels to bring it to life or to say, I see these people have this problem. Or me personally, I've been going to so many conferences,
mhm,
especially education conferences, but I don't feel connected. So a lot of people use Wova, the Wova app.
mhm,
And it's great. You can see all the attendees and they got shout outs and you can post links. Um, and then you can put pictures up, but you still don't feel connected to the people. So I'm like, how can I create something to make people feel created? So I want you to give me some feedback on this because I haven't shared this with anybody yet, Michelle.
mhm.
I just created this, like I told you, March the 8th. How many days was that? That's 4
June.
days ago,
Oh my
right?
gosh, like 4 days ago.
Okay. Let me know when you can see it. Can you
I
see
can
it?
see Spark
Okay.
Curiosity Conference Hub.
Yes. So we got the conference hub here, and what's going to end up happening is that they will enter a code once they, register for the conference. But I already have the code, so I'm going to log in at the bottom. Okay. So here they will introduce themselves. They can upload their picture, girl. Think about this. I'm just over here playing. I'm just imagining stuff. So I'm going to upload my picture here.
Good.
I gonna put my first and last name. This is just a little demo account. We just playing over here, and let's just be playing together. What's their role? What's their title? What their organization is? I want to be able to share their LinkedIn so other people can click on their LinkedIn. So I'm just gonna put I'm a fifth
Mhm.
grade teacher, and I work for Me Fi Me, and okay. Don't you always want to know why people wanted to come to your conference?
Oh, yeah.
So, what sparked your curiosity about this conference? Improving instruction. What challenge are you most interested in solving right now? So, this is going to help me too, like as I'm selecting what I do moving forward. This is a data point too. So, instructional clarity. And what do you hope to leave with at the end of this conference? This is
Mhm.
data. This is going to help me. Like, I want to make sure that when people come to my conference, they left with what they wanted to come here with. I want to leave with ready to use curiosity techniques. Okay, there we go. And then it says create account. And then to create the account, they put their email. We're just gonna just do this. And then we'll enter the hub. I did
That
this on
is
March.
awesome.
March 8th. Welcome to the Spark here, your central place to explore sessions, connect with educators, share sparks, and capture ideas. Now, One thing I also wanted to make different is most people, when they do a conference, you have the little evaluation at the end of the session, right? But that's not for the attendees. That's for the person who presented. I want to make this about the learners. So I decided at the end of each of my sessions, we're just going to go to the Spark Wall and we're going to write one idea we gained from the session. So that at the end of the day, nothing's in here now because I just created this, but I just kind of want to go here and show you the Spark Wall. So on the Spark Wall, they would just share one takeaway. What's one idea from a session that sparked your thinking today?
Love it.
And it's going to be a live feed. So as people are in the sessions at the end, you'll be able to go and say, oh, they sparking off in that other session.
Yeah.
Oh man, I missed that one. Oh man, maybe next time I got to that one. It's creating this little energy, right? I created a shout out board. I think it's important when you at a conference, you need to give shout outs. We don't give enough shout outs to students in our classrooms. So I'm telling the students, the participants, I want you to look for people's potential. I want you to look for the good that you see in people. People showing hey, I want to give out a shout out to Mr. Jones, who came all the way from Alabama. He looking so sharp today. You know, just something like that. Just imagine, Michelle, that kind of energy in a conference.
Yeah. Yeah.
Michelle, we already getting ready. You know what I'm saying? So
that is fantastic. I love it.
So then here are all my sessions, and then they can make a schedule right within the app. And then there'll be a directory. So everyone who's come, you'll see their picture. You'll see what they're interested in and what do they want to get from the conference. So to see, do we have any things that, you know, that's in common? And then all of the handouts from the presenters, the links, AI tools that share from the different presenters, we're going to put it all here so that you can come back to it. And then I put a feedback survey right in here so you'll know, hey, these are the 5 things that I want to get. And then we have inbox in case you want to message someone. But my friend, I did all of this in one day.
Isn't that crazy?
So I know people are going to be like, how did that lady? Well, the thing about it is I saw a problem. The problem is conferences don't have this kind of energy before, during, and after. I'm about sparking curiosity. And to spark curiosity, people need to feel connected. They need to feel like they're part of a community and curious to see what are other people thinking. Like a lot of the things we don't really know, like, am I the only one thinking this? But once you find out other people are thinking the same, it makes you feel safe. It makes you feel like this is a place that I can feel safe at. And that's why I created this, because I want people to feel safe. I want people to feel connected. And I want them to feel like this is unique. This is something that, as an educator, I want to create something like this for my students.
I love it.
I actually do a 10-minute live spark every Wednesday. And actually, I'm in the process of making music videos with AI right now. And they're going to be 2-minute videos because I told you I created 3 things. So I didn't even show you the other thing I made, which is Fearless Educator Radio.
Oh, see, there's just so much. There's so much room for,
You know what? It's so much because my whole life I've been creative but can't draw. I've been creative but I can't draw. And I wanted to do these technical things but thought I needed hours and hours of coding. And now I realize I don't.
Yeah.
So I started playing with AI music last February. And now to date, I've made 97 songs where I write the songs. I go in ChatGPT. I said, Chat, tighten this up a little bit. Give me a nice hook to go with it. And I'm experimenting with another tool that makes videos. So I have a video here on our first page. And the video tool will make a video up to like 90 to 1 minute. It takes about 30 minutes, but all I have to do is prompt it and it creates something like this. So let me share this one with you.
Take a breath right here, right now. This is your space to tune in again, to remember who you are beneath the weight, to remember the work has power because you have power. Welcome to Fearless Educator Radio. Let's align. I choose joy. I choose love. I choose growth. Just to serve
I'm here.
Feel this. It's my voice. I choose.
Getting excited over there, Michelle. You smiling too much.
That is gorgeous.
Hey, listen, we gonna
Gorgeous.
add another link, and it's gonna be music videos. It's coming. So right now I have the library. I created all these MP3s and I basically uploaded it into a database where I put the name of the song. I put a MP3 link because I have it already on the internet. And I put what this music is for and I put the genre of the music.
Mhm.
And once I did that, I just told, Lovable, I want to create an audio player of this music. And said, "Hey, where's the database? Here's the database. Again, it's coming from my data." So this one is not AI, this app, but AI helped me write the prompts and AI generated music, but the application doesn't use AI at all. It's not going somewhere. It's just using my database of all my songs. And my vision here is that teachers will write their music and send it to us, and we upload it to our memory so that we can have, by the end of the year, I would love to have 1,000 songs that focus on joy, focus on sparking curiosity. You probably we probably gonna use this one for the women. I wrote
Yeah.
this for women leaders. It's called "She's Braver Than She Thinks."
Yeah.
You probably gonna like this one. We'll play like 30 seconds of that one.
So the world may.
Think about if you feeling like a little nobody one day, if somebody tells you you a woman, you ain't supposed to be doing that. Come on over to Fearless Educator Radio and let's listen to She Braver Than She Thinks, okay?
Rotate. You got serious
Okay.
Beyonce vibes going there.
It's so many different vibes. I got James Brown vibes.
Oh my God.
I done took a little bit of everybody, but I've made it like education. So I have stuff for students, I have stuff
Yeah.
for leaders, and I have stuff for educators. But I initially created a platform on WordPress using this first in October. And so I had an audio book. But again, I can't really keep track of who's coming in to check out my stuff.
Mm.
So once I built the Lead Spark team and I built the Spark Curiosity Coach, I'm like, why don't we bring the radio over here too, girl?
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
Exactly. Because once
let's
you got
bring it
started,
in place.
yeah, exactly.
And so I put
Oh
more
my gosh.
research on here about music and how it helps us, and then community. This one, again, we're still trying to get people to use this one, but I believe in community and I want to hear people post. I want to hear them share a moment, share something they got from a song, ask for help. Is there something that you would like me to write a song about? Because I'm taking requests. I just did a workshop about a week ago and we did an ad lib and someone says, "I'm capable." And we made a whole song about that in like 15 minutes. And I wrote a bunch of stuff about why I'm capable, why am I resilient. He was like, "How are you able to do this?" I said, "I just need one thought. And once I get that thought, that brain just starts connecting all of these other things to it."
And there's no
That's
barrier anymore.
Hey, listen, the only barrier we have now is our mind. It's really our mind. That's why they got to come there and listen to quality of your thoughts, because the quality of your thoughts determine the quality of your life. So women, men listening, just change your thoughts. And if you don't know what you should be thinking, go to AI right now. Go to ChatGPT, type in this prompt. "Hey, I want to develop an app that helps women solve this problem," right? Say that. Chat, give me affirmations so that I can say to myself every day so that I can believe I can do this.
Mhm.
And God is my witness. You just met a woman who didn't know nothing about making apps. And I promise you, I just started this January 14th. And I'm just on a whole different path. I'm just like, But that She Leads conference and being around those women and seeing what they were already building, I'm like, why can't I build something?
Yep.
So
And that is 100% why I want to interview women, yourself included, that are making these moves, because when somebody sees you do it, they're going to see themselves and they're going to
yes.
see that possibility. And they're going to say, okay, she did this. This is how she did it. I'm going to try to walk that path. I'm going to try to create what I've had in my head all these years that I've never had space to do this before. Because now you do.
Now you do. And just imagine one of the apps that you might create might be something so simple, but it's so impactful. And you just put it in front of the right audience, you done. You can just sit down because you can hook up your subscription and you can hook a payment through Strip and you could be making money off something. My Lead Spark team is mostly invoicing through school districts, but in the future, I'm probably gonna have some type of subscription base with something because I would have built up my community. But right now, my love right now is the love of creating and just saying, hey, look at this, come be a part of this. And I hope that this inspires you. And I want you to go out and inspire someone else and help someone else. Maybe there's a song you hear that can help someone. And actually, this was initially just for me. I just initially was making the songs for me because I got tired of listening to the radio because it wasn't doing anything for my brain. It wasn't developing me. And then I heard about healing frequency and that music can actually heal you or it can break down your molecular level. And I said, what is this? And most of the music we listen to is actually breaking us down and we don't even know it. I stopped listening to it, but then I also noticed I was changing mentally. Like Michelle, the person I was a year ago and the person you're talking to now, it's almost it's like 180. I be trying to figure out, girl, where you come from? All my songs in my head, like programming me now, while that other trash is out of my head. And so one night I cried after listening to one of my songs. And I feel like everybody keeps saying, that's not AI. I said, it is AI. It just depends on how you program it, and what types of tools you're using. And if you know what you're looking for, that's the key part. Like, I know what sound I want. I know what feeling I want these songs to give people when they listen to it. But this is the question that I said to myself that made me cry. And I said to myself, what if my teachers were listening to this kind of music when I was their student? Where would I be in this world now? Because you can only pour into someone what you have inside of you.
Mhm.
And so many teachers are burnt out and empty because they're giving so much. But how are they replenishing their mental health, their spiritual well-being to take their power back? And so this is what motivated me really to make the platform public and to say, I want other teachers to create songs so we can heal because no one is going to come save educators. I'm sorry, nobody coming. You
No,
got to
we
just
are our own Calvary.
we support cavalry. You got to come up with your own mindset, your own tribes. But music is a stress reducer, and we know that. That's like a universal fact.
And
I know
Olivia,
we look everywhere. We don't win
yeah,
everywhere.
you are a stress reducer. You are inspiration incarnate. And I am so grateful that you shared some time with us today. Thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure, and my whole thing is give light, receive light. Because we need more light in this world.
Yeah. So if you heard that and you are wanting to send some love Olivia's way, we're going to send them over to LinkedIn, connect with her, and definitely check out these apps.
Yeah, fearlesseducator.com is the music app. So anybody can go and get that if they want to spark curiosity in the class. That's ai.sparkcuriosityedu.com.
I love it. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. I appreciate it. It's so nice to kind of talk about these things because a lot of these things I'm doing are behind the scenes. And not if you start sharing these things, sometimes people are like, you're kind of weird. Like, what are you doing? Like, people don't do this kind of stuff.
Overlord.
I did, man, you did what? What is that? So I just really just thank you for the opportunity to just share my love of learning. And I'm learning this. It was uncomfortable. I'm becoming more comfortable, but at the same time, I'm going to push myself. My next step is to develop an AI agent on Base 404 because now they come in with some super agents. And so my next thing is how can I create a social media agent on Base 404 that can produce all of my social media for me without me doing it every week?
Oh my God, you found your people. We love it. Thank you so much, Olivia. It's been a joy.
All right, Michelle.
You've been listening to Empowered by AI, and I'm your host, Michelle Muncy Silva. If something from this episode clicked, don't let it stop here. Take one idea and try it out this week. And if you want to go deeper, head over to the Empowered by AI, the Slay Effect YouTube channel, where you can watch demos and walkthroughs from our guests today and so many others. Like, subscribe, and join us there so you don't miss out on what's coming next. All the links and resources are in the show notes. I'll see you next time.